so many drivers that we have to extend our start pontoon and almost over double it because we've got to give everybody a bit more space because there's so many boats heading through the commitment buoy down to the far end of the course. Now we're going to run a 2-flag start like we do with this many drivers. Are you guys, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Because here we go. 1 minute drivers, 1 minute. The lids of these fully enclosed cockpits come down. They tighten those straps of those 6-point safety harnesses. 50 seconds, drivers, 50 seconds. Checking all their trim switches, making sure everything is just right as they keep an eye on that starter. 40 seconds, drivers, 40 seconds. Who's going to come out on top here early on and get that whole shot off the dock? Will it be the Tena Rinker? Maybe the Ada Mayo? 30 seconds, drivers, 30 seconds. Or could it be the 52 of Chris Rinker, the 20 of Ashton Rinker, the 24 of Spencer Love, and who knows, maybe some of those guys back in 14th, 15th off the dock. Let's crown a champion here at the opening round of 2022. 20 seconds, drivers, you're under starters orders. Well, it looks like we had the 93 of RJ West jump the gun there a little bit, but he paid the penalty for it as he had to refire the motor on that APX 200 V6 4-stroke Mercury, and he is mired way back with the second group of drivers. But as our pole sitter, the Tena Terry Rinker, makes his way down into turn 1, the man sitting third off the start pontoon, the 20 of Ashton Rinker, makes a great jump off the dock and moves his way up from third into second. And then it's the 52 of Chris Rinker going wide to the outside, and he's already up into third. We've got a Rinker. 1, 2, 3 here on the opening lap. What a move there by the 52 of Chris Rinker. Is wide to the outside. But it is Rinker, 1, 2 as the son chases the father. Phase 3 versus Rinker Products and Services, Rinker Boat World Racing. Who's going to come out on top? As we start lap 1, it is all Terry Rinker right now as he got a clean line. Oh, look out there. Ashton Rinker almost barrel rolls it coming out of turn number 4 and almost put him on his head, but he somehow miraculously saved it. But boy, that is a big, big gap now for the rest of the field to try to track down the number 10 of Terry Rinker. The 8 of Jeremiah Mann now sneaking up on the 20 of Ashton Rinker as he starts to put together a battle plan to try to move himself up one spot on the podium here in the main event in Formula One. The Tena Terry Rinker on its tail, pushing hard down the back straightaway out of turns 3 and 4. He's now moving all the way down the front straightaway. The 20 of Ashton Rinker now comes off of turn 4. He's got a rearview mirror full of the number 8 of Jeremiah Mayo. Pushing hard down the front stretch. You see Rinker, Mayo, Rinker. That's a lot of Rinkers in the top 4, and they're hoping to make it a clean sweep if the 52 of Chris Rinker can catch the number 8 of Jeremiah Mayo, who sits now inside that top 3 and on the podium. He gets doused down by the 20 of Ashton Rinker. He's got to move wide to the outside, trying to find that clean water with that 2.5 liter Mercury V6 outboard on the back of that Mulligard Danish all-composite hull with JH Performance Boats and Hertz Media on the side. He stays on his outside hip. The 820 of Rinker does not allow him to go anywhere. And boy, that turn 4 is getting real rough already as we're just a couple of laps here into this 17-minute plus 1 lap main event here in the opening round of 2022. The 8 of Mayo staying on it, but falling off the pace a bit after getting in the wash of the 20 of Rinker down to the north end of the course now as they make their way through turns 1 and 2 and now heading back north towards turns 3 and 4 as we are 3 laps into this main event. Now it's going to start to get interesting once the rest of the field catches up. Once our leader, the Tena Terry Rinker, catches up to some of these back markers. He's already eyeing up the number 99 of Travis Yates, who's running one of those 200 APX V6 4-stroke Mercury outboards, and he's going to go wide to the outside and kind of allow the Tena Rinker to get by him. He's still struggling to get that package together. They just got that motor in this week, and that APX is a different animal, and it takes some testing to figure out what the best route is with that new motor package. But the 8 of Jeremiah Mayo continuing to push hard against the 20 of Ashton Rinker. And then you see now coming into view the 52 of Chris Rinker is starting to make it a 3-boat battle for the final 2 spots on the podium. But does anybody have an answer for Terry Rinker? I don't know, because he's running this thing like he stole it and trying to drive away from the competition. But jamming it down to the inside. Oh, look at Mayo, tries to make a move. Coming out of turn number 4, he knifes down to the inside. Now here comes the 52 of Chris Rinker up on the deck of the number 8 of Jeremiah Mayo as they go side by side battling for 3rd position. The 8 of Mayo getting a little loose there down into turn number 1, He's got to set it down. It's lane 2 now. Give it a window for the 52 Rinkers. They go deck to deck coming out of turn number 2. Mayo almost kissing the outside of that Moore Composite Rinker Boat World Gregory Law Firm machine. As they're pushing hard, that's exactly what the 20 of Ashton Rinker wants, because that'll allow him to pull away from them and try to track down the number 10 of Ashton Rinker. Excuse me, the number 10 of Terry Rinker. There are too many Rinkers here in the Formula One final. I tell you, it's hard for even a veteran like myself to keep track. But our leader, the 10 of Terry Rinker, is pushing hard. There's the 8 of Jeremiah Mayo trying to get back up and nip on the heels of the 20 of Ashton Rinker. You know what I'm wondering is, where is the 62 of Chris Fairchild? There he is. He's moved himself up into 9th position from 14th, so he's moved up 6 spots so far already, but he's got a lot of ground to cover here. Thankfully, he's got a bit more time than he did in the qualifying heats. We've got 12 minutes, 32 seconds, plus 1 lap remaining in this Formula One main event here at the opening round of 2022. What a battle we've got going on here for second. Oh, look at, there's Jeremiah Mayo making a move on the outside. We got a battle for second as the 8 of Jeremiah, get out of my way, Mayo, slathering the mayonnaise all over the 20 of Ashton Rinker as they go down into turn number 1 and 2. And now Ashton's got to look and get worried about his teammate, the 52 of Chris Rinker, or he might find himself on the outside of the podium looking in. The 8 of Mayo now, does he have the top speed to track down the 10 of Terry Rinker? Can he pull it off here and take a victory in his home race in 2022 after a hiatus in 2021? He is fighting hard out there on the shores of the Neches River. Yeah, the number 9 of Johnny Fleming mixing it up. There's the 41. That's the Bush Cracklin Racing Texas First Bank. Bobby Briggs now going a lap down, and the 20 of Ashton Rinker is holding off the 52 of Chris Rinker, but we got a battle then behind them. It's the 17 of Dylan Anderson and the 24 of Spencer Love back in 6th and 7th position. Excuse me, 5th and 6th position, and they're fighting hard as well. We've got battles everywhere along the race course. The 80 of Dillard's trying to catch the 17 of Anderson as he goes down into the north end of the course. Off of turn 3 now, gets into the wash of the 24 of Spencer Love, and they're battling hard there for 5th and 6th. Wide off that outside hip there was the 41 of Bobby Briggs trying to keep pace, but really struggling. It looks like the 9 of Johnny Fleming actually dead in the water down on the north end of the course. The frustrations and gremlins continue for the Fleming Manufacturing Racing Team. But what a doozy we got here. The 24 of Spencer Love and the 17 of Dylan Anderson starting to close the gap on those boats that are hanging out in the top 3. As the 8 of Jeremiah Mayo now makes his way down the start-finish line, he is starting to close that gap between him and the 10 of Terry Rinker, our leader. So far, through 7 laps. Excuse me, a lot more laps than that. We got 10. I thought we had 7 minutes left. 10 minutes remaining, plus 1 lap here in this main event on the shores of the Neches River. There's the 20 of Ashton Rinker and his teammate, the 52 of Chris Rinker, fighting for that final spot on the podium. We know we're going to probably get a Rinker bookend here, but can we get a clean sweep? If Jeremiah Mayo has anything to say about it, that is not going to happen because the young man from Richmond, Texas is fighting hard. As our leader, the 10 of Terry Rinker, continues to navigate his way with precision through the back markers, it's going to get a lot tougher for him to keep stretching out that lead. The real big question is will the master behind the wheel of the Phase 3 performance machine be able to navigate these back markers better than the 8 of Jeremiah Mayo? If experience is going to be your indicator, then I think he's not going to have a problem. But sometimes youth trumps experience, and will that gutsy, live on the ragged edge push that the 8 of Mayo has be able to catapult him above the 10 of Terry Rinker? Because I can tell you right now, that gap is closing over from the 10 of Terry Rinker back to that second place boat. The number 8 of Jeremiah Mayo is continuing to shorten the gap, and in a boat that was purchased from Phase 3 Performance, and they told the 8 of Jeremiah Mayo and his crew chief that that boat was undrivable. Well, it was only undrivable because you had to run that thing on the literal ragged edge to get it to do what you wanted. And that young man says, I love driving that thing on the ragged edge. And he's starting to continue to make up ground as the 10 of Terry Rinker, our leader, having to navigate through some pretty tricky back markers. And unfortunately, the day is over for the number 9 of Johnny Fleming. The Gremlins continue as off screen. The number 9 of Johnny Fleming's pulling in and putting the boat on the trailer, and his afternoon is done. But there's the 8 of Mayo. He is already climbing outside of turn 3 and through turn 4 now, and has closed that gap to about 6 or 7 seconds from our leader, the number 10 of Terry Rinker. As we check back in with the third spot on the podium as it sits right now, that's the number 20 of Ashton Rinker. He's going to cross your screen here, and there's the 52 of Chris Rinker right behind him, flashing in the foreground as we keep track of our man sitting in second, trying to close the gap, trying to win his first battle, first race here in Formula One. There's the number 20 of Ashton Rinker. Look at that gap between him and the 52 of Chris Rinker. You can tell the experience or lack of it a little bit for the 52 of Rinker is not allowing that gap to close as much as I think it could, because I believe he's got a little bit better top-end speed, but he's just not navigating the water maybe as well, or it's just a testament to the defense that the 20 of Ashton Rinker and his Rinker Boat World Pro Marine Services machine can do as they go down into turns 1 and 2. Look at that gap as they get down to the corner. That tells me he's got a lot more top end, but he just can't figure out how to navigate those corners, and the gap gets so much larger that he doesn't have enough room in the straightaway to close it between him and the number 52, him and the man in second, the number 20 of Ashton Rinker. As we see there, the 20 of Ashton Rinker now making it out of turn number 4 in the wash there, and sitting in fourth position, the 52 of Chris Rinker. But the big thing is here is as the 10 of Terry Rinker has started to move through those back markers, that gap is definitely closed between him and the number 8 of Jeremiah Mayo. You see Mayo there on the back straightaway. That was Rinker getting by the number 70 of Jude Gaspar. Now he makes his way down out of turn number 4, but as he goes into 4, Mayo is already coming out of 4. He has closed this thing down to 6 or 7 boat lengths. It was almost up to a half a lap just a few laps ago. The young man out of Richmond is driving that thing like he absolutely stole it, and the 10 of Terry Rinker has got an earful from his crew chief telling him, you've got to push that thing to the limit. The young kid from Richmond is coming, and he's coming hard. The 10 of Rinker knows he's been in this position before. He knows exactly what to do. He's going to drive a very clean race. He's going to be very smart. He's going to pick his lines. He doesn't need to get by every boat as soon as he comes up on them. At times, you'll see that experience in the 10 of Rinker play with one of the back markers so that he can position them properly for when to pass them, so that it causes issues with his competitors behind him, but he doesn't have issue. He doesn't want to pass these guys in the corner. You see there the 8 of Mayo. He's just driving that thing all over the course, trying to squeeze every ounce of power out of that 2.5 liter carbureted Mercury V6 outboard. Sweeps it wide out of turn number 1. Now coming tight up off the apex of 1, pressing it out of 2, trying to get those RPMs up, packing that air under that 17-foot long Formula One tunnel hull with JH Performance and Hertz Audio on this 1 lap remaining. Will there be enough time for the 8 of Jeremiah Mayo to close the gap all the way? He's getting closer, but I don't know if he's going to have enough time. As we look back on the final spot on the podium, so right now that's the number 20 of Ashton Rinker. He flashes there in the foreground. Boom, there's the 5th place. There's the 6th place and the 7th place. We've got 4 boats fighting for the final spot on the podium between the 20 of Ashton Rinker, the 52 of Chris Rinker, the 24 of Spencer Love, and the 17 of Dylan Anderson, who will merge victorious and end up bringing some hardware back home to their race shop here at after the opening round of 2022. There's the 52 of Chris Rinker now making his way down into turn number 3, is nipping on the heels of his teammate and cousin, Ashton Rinker, the Siesta Key, Florida native. He's riding that outside line. Will he find the right line to be able to get by the 20 of Ashton Rinker? There's the 8 of Jeremiah Mayo now going down into the corner, fighting hard with his teammate. He gives him the inside line and gets moving by. There's the 20 of Ashton. The 20 of Ashton Rinker pushing hard to try to hold off the 52 of Chris Rinker. And Chris Rinker now has got a rear view mirror full of the 24 of Spencer Love. as they go down to the north end of the course. The 24 of Spencer Love is all of a sudden right on top of the 52 of Chris Rinker as he comes wide out of turn number 4, leaving the inside lane for the 17 of Anderson. As we've got 4 boats fighting for the final podium position, all within a half a second. Look at the 24 of Spencer Love cruising down the front stretch as they go down into the south end of the course, into turn number 1. The 52 of Chris Rinker is trying to track down the 20 Ashton. Look at the 24 of Love crossing through the wake, gets doused down and trying to get that outside line, kick those RPMs up. Will he be able to get by the 52 of Rinker as they go side by side, battling for fourth position here on the back stretch as they go down into the north end of the course? The 24 of the 24 of Spencer Love holds tight to that outside line. Staying to the inside is the 52 of Rinker. Now he presses wide to the outside, trying to force the 24 of Spencer Love off the edge of the course, and here comes the drag race down the front stretch. Who's going to win it down into turn 1? The 52 of Chris Rinker is able to hold off the 24 of Love, and Love's got to go way wide to the outside. Looks like he was trying to avoid the wash from the third place boat. The 20 of Ashton Rinker went a little bit too wide. Now he's got to make up a bit more ground. I thought we had a pass coming there. And what happened to the 17 of Dylan Anderson? He just fell off in this group. Oh no, looks like the 62 of Chris Fairchild, or the 70 of Jude Gaspard picks up a buoy there, but just got word that the 8 of Jeremiah Mayo has backed way off because he's got some steering issues in that Mola guard. So he's going to make it very difficult for him to navigate these rough waters here in Port Neches in the waning moments of our F1. Here we go. Here comes the 52 of Chris Fairchild. On the inside, 52 of Chris Rinker on the inside of the 20 of Ashton Rinker. But now that experience of the 20 of Ashton Rinker allows him to get back ahead of the 52 of Rinker as they go down to the north end of the course. Looks like we lost a buoy down there in turn number 3, and it's floating way down there. So we got kind of an oblong course now. The 52 of Chris Rinker skips wide to the outside, trying to get those RPMs up and catch his teammate and cousin, the 20 of Ashton Rinker, who sits in third position. As they continue to push, the 24 of Spencer Love and that Clover construction machine now coming back into the view and battling it out with the other 2 Rinkers Boat World sponsored entries to try to get that last spot on the podium. Can Jeremiah Mayo hang on in second place as the Rinkers in third and fourth go down to the north end of course one more time? You see there's the 70 of Jude Gaspard, picked up a buoy, and it looks like his day is done. That's unfortunate for the man out of Conroe, Texas. And there's the 03 of Dustin Terry trying to stay ahead of the 20 of Ashton Rinker. On the front stretch, boy, we got a doozy. As our second place boat comes out of turn number 2, the 8 of Jeremiah Mayo starting to struggle a bit with that rough water, but there's the 20 of Ashton Rinker. Where did the 52 of Chris Rinker go? Oh, there he is. He didn't go too far, just outside of our view here on our live broadcast, but there's the 8 of Mayo now sweeping, having a fight through some back markers. That's allowing the gap to close. This is going to make it very interesting in these final laps here, because when Ashton Rinker smells blood in the water, I assure you he will attack like the shark that he is, as Mayo goes down into the tight into turn number 1 and has to deal with a ton of back markers now. With those back markers make it difficult for the 20 of Ashton Rinker. Can he shoot the moon and split him as he goes down to the inside? As you're going to see the 8 of Mayo going side by side with the number 41 of Bobby Briggs, but you see the white flag go out. Go fast, turn left, just 4 more times for the man out of Tampa, Florida. He's looking to pick up in 2022 where he left off in 2021. Can he be our wire-to-wire champion here in Formula One at the opening round of 2022? There's the 8 of Mayo holding on tight to that second spot. And we've got a battle now as Spencer Love inserts himself into that battle for the third, fourth, and fifth position. Ladies and gentlemen, taking the checkered flag, your champion at the opening round of 2022, the number 10 of Terry Rinker. Now let's see how the battle's looking for second, third, and fourth as the 8 of Jeremiah Mayo comes wide to the outside, off the outside corner. Ladies and gentlemen, getting on the podium here in Formula One out of Richmond, Texas, the number 8 of Jeremiah Mayo, and rounding out the podium, the number 20 of Ashton Rinker. Nipping on his heels, the 52 of Chris Rinker, the 24 of Spencer Love, the 80 of Brent Dillard, the 62 of Chris Fairchild, the 93 of RJ West, and then the number 96 of Jimmy Merleau. What happened to Dylan Anderson there at the end? He fell way off, but what a heck of a race that was. Wire to wire for Terry Rinker. No surprise, the man who's one of the most decorated